as we close in on January 13th, we have another update on what the NHL season is going to look like, involving playoffs, involving before the season starts, and some new updated divisions. Not too hardcore, but I'm going to preview them here. Coming up next. First off, if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube, please go feel free doing that. That would mean a heck of a lot to me right now. Trying to really grind out on these YouTube, get these season previews out there. We're trying to get to 700 subscribers by the end of June of 2021. So, we're really trying to pop off. And maybe someday I can make it to 1K, 2K, 3K, etc. Maybe someday I can make money. That's kind of a childhood dream, but someday I can make some money. I mean, that would mean a lot to me, so one subscriber could really help me out with that. Also, if you are already, please go check out the links in the description below, which includes Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and TikTok. That would mean a heck of a lot to me if you checked out all those social medias as well. And anyways, let's get into the video. So last night, the NHL made an announcement, or the Insiders made an announcement per se, about updates on next season. So, we do have some updates on the roster, players opting out wise, and the top 4 teams in each division to make playoffs. We'll get into that first. So, the top 4 teams in each division will make the playoffs, which means probably we already can predict what teams will make the playoffs. So, you're going to see some very good teams, especially in the Canadian division, not in the playoffs. You're going to see, like, let's just have Winnipeg and Montreal for an example here. You're going to see maybe Winnipeg and Montreal out of the playoffs with Ottawa, because I think Ottawa is probably going to be out of the playoffs, let's face it. And, top 4 teams, that kicks out a lot of players, a lot of tough teams in each division. That means some very good teams in the Metropolitan, or the Atlantic, sorry. It's the Atlantic. Right now, I'm so confused about the division names, because I'm seeing, like, the Atlantic, I'm seeing, like, USA 1, I'm seeing Metropolitan, like, I don't know what the division's even called. So, I guess I'll just call the division Atlantic. So, let's say, like, Boston, Philly, Pittsburgh, and Washington make the playoffs. That means you can see Buffalo, New York, New Jersey, and other teams missing out. So, you're going to see a lot of good teams not make the playoffs. And that's the thing that's really going to make teams mad, because, like, they haven't decided everything yet. But, like, if there is a tie in points-wise, I'm sure the team with the highest point percentage will make the playoffs. That's what I would assume at least. And, they're going to see a lot of good teams out of the playoffs. A lot of teams are going to get pretty mad about where they finish. And, in all honesty, it's really just a push to see who can make the playoffs. I'm not sure about the seeding, though. The seeding, in all honesty, could be the same. We could be doing 1 versus 16 is the same thing. Or we could be doing a different divisional season seed alignments. I doubt it, though. I doubt we would have that. But, what would be really cool? If we could go back to what it was like in the 1980s, where you would see, like, Boston play LA in the first round, a Boston-Montreal Stanley Cup Finals, like, that would be so cool if we could get those series back to how they were back in the 1980s, because those were very fun series to watch. Like, you would see teams play teams across the country in the first round, which was very fun to watch, and it was very unique, too, and the ratings would skyrocket, too. So, if the NHL has the option of doing that, I would definitely choose that if I were Gary Bettman. I know they won't, but that would be a very, very, very good option to make more money. Especially since, they're bringing helmets on the jerseys. They're doing other things. They're doing other things with the NHL to make more money. They might have some fans in attendance in some locations. I know the ECHL has already started doing that. I've heard Allen and a few other places in the ECHL cities do actually have attendance numbers. So they are making a decent amount. So they are making money as well. But, like, this NHL, it's going to be interesting how they do it. There are a lot of things that need to be done still, but I think there's a lot of ways that they could do this to make more money and get more revenue on the TV side of things. Now, the other thing is, players have the option to opt out, which is likely without pay. If it's with pay, then they're basically making money off of doing nothing. So, I would assume that the teams will likely have them opt out without pay. That would make a lot more sense. And there will be a lot of people who opt out. It's going to be kind of like the playoffs last season, but I think more players will opt out. You're going to see much more players opt out. You can see, like, all of Detroit's team opting out, which would be very funny in all honesty, because, like, how bad they are. imagine every Detroit Red Wings team's like, nope, we're out, and then the whole Griffins roster comes in and starts playing. So, like, actually, that wouldn't be that bad, actually, because I think the Griffins are better than the Red Wings. But, anyways, so they do have the option to opt out. You're going to see a lot more people opt out this season because of the longer schedule and the much more uncertainty. And also the other thing I said was that we're going to see a lot more signings and a lot more trades happen That's the huge thing because we've already seen Anthony Duclair get signed, Philip Myers, Mason Millman, Oscar Kylington. We've seen a lot more signings over the past few days, and we're probably going to get even more this week. So it's going to be pretty interesting what we're going to see in the NHL. But I would expect a lot more players to opt out, mostly because their families with other people having COVID issues. I would expect maybe the same people who opted out last season in the playoffs to probably opt out this season. Maybe not. Some players may not opt out. In all honesty, I think that this will be fine. I think you won't lose too many players, but you will definitely lose a much larger amount than you did last season, especially when there's more teams in play. Also, the other thing that will occur, no one's really going to be surprised here, the rosters, we have 23 players on total rosters, and then we have an $81.5 million cap space. That would mean like almost every team's over the cap. But anyways, so $81.5 million cap space and a 4 to 6 taxi squad regarding AHL players. Because I'm still not sure if we're having an AHL season or not. We've heard news, but we haven't really gotten much as to when the heck it's going to happen. So, we'll get into that. That's another video we'll get into. But 23 players, $81.5 million cap, and as well as that, the expiration and the date that you have to be under the salary cap and have a full roster is January 12th at 5 p.m. Eastern. I think that's what I heard via Cap Friendly. So that means teams like Arizona, like Washington, like Anaheim, teams over the cap are going to desperately make moves to try and get under it. There is a lot of players that are over the cap right now. So honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if you're going to see a lot more of that over the coming weeks. I will be here to cover it all. But nonetheless, this should be pretty interesting. We're going to see a lot more trades than usual. You're going to see teams desperately get below the cap. You're going to see a lot more signings as well. I would expect when we get confirmed on the start date, because really the starting date hasn't been confirmed yet. We'll see players like Mike Hoffman, Zdeno Chara, Sami Vatanen, and a lot of other players who aren't on NHL teams right now get signed maybe to 1-year deals, 2-year, 3-year deals. Some players will want a lot of money, but some of these players are going to have to realize you're not getting the money that you got before. And, so this will be interesting what the teams are going to do. But, yeah, it's going to be pretty fun to see all the trades because I love trades. And now, finally here, we have the updated division. So, first off, the Atlantic Division. The Atlantic Division consists of Boston, Buffalo, New Jersey, New York, both New York teams, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Washington. As I said, there's going to be a lot of good teams that will miss the playoffs. I could see Boston, New York, Philly, and Washington making the playoffs, and then Pittsburgh, Buffalo, New Jersey, and the Rangers missing out. That's honestly what I could see that be realistic. Because, as I said, so a lot of good teams will miss the playoffs. And in the Pacific, the things with them, you're going to see a lot of teams that really aren't exactly cup contenders actually make the playoffs. I can tell you right now, Vegas, St. Louis, and Colorado are pretty much the confirmed teams that are going to make the playoffs. Everyone else, Minnesota, Arizona, Anaheim, and San Jose, and LA, are really just the teams that are going to fight for that Final Four spot. So honestly, it's really Colorado, St. Louis, and Vegas, and then boom, it's everyone else. It's everyone else. The Central, it consists of Carolina, Chicago, Columbus, Dallas, Detroit, Florida, Nashville, and Tampa. I can tell you right now, Tampa, Carolina, and Columbus will make the playoffs, and Dallas most likely. So Florida, Nashville, Chicago, and Detroit may miss the playoffs. So I'd see those 4 teams making it. And then the Canadian division is probably the most competitive division out of all these. You could argue the Atlantic, but I would say the Canadian. Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver, and Winnipeg. You're gonna see 4 really good teams miss. You're gonna see 3 really good teams miss the playoffs in that division. Let's just do this. Let's just say Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and Winnipeg make the playoffs. That means you're gonna see Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal miss the playoffs. And Toronto and Montreal are looking like very good teams heading into next season. I mean, Ottawa, I think everyone's expecting them to miss the playoffs, so I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I don't see Ottawa making the playoffs, in all honesty. But, they may make it in the coming years. But, those divisions look very competitive, especially the Atlantic and the Canadian. But, we can predict that very good teams in a lot of these divisions will be missing the playoffs. That's a very definite thing. So let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, please go make sure to like, hit the subscribe button. And as we're trying to get to 700 subscribers by the end of the year, thank you all for the constant support, and I will see you guys in the next video.